Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here to this channel, we talk about all things fandom on this channel, and we talk about it in a positive way. And if that's something that appeals to you, you've come to the right place, my friends, and we are so happy to have you here. And today, of course, we have to talk about Season 2 of Peacemaker, Episode 6. So this is going to be our spoiler review of Season 2, Episode 6. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so if you don't know who I am, if you're completely new to this channel, I want to take this time to welcome you guys before we get into this review, before we get into this topic, because I want you to understand who we are as a channel. On this channel, we talk, like I said, about all things positive within your fandom, which pretty much means that I'm a critic that will talk about the things that he actually likes. In other words, I'm not going to get up here and tell you about things that I don't like. Now, there are a lot of channels that do that, and that's perfectly fine. I support those channels for what they do. However, that's not me. And I'm also a fan in being that we're talking about DC and the DCU and the DCEU on this channel. Sometimes I feel as though I must tell you straight up who I am. I am a fan of both Zack Snyder and James Gunn. And it's okay to be a fan of both. And it's okay if you're not. The bottom line when it comes to Zack Snyder is I have been a fan of Zack Snyder's for years upon years. I have followed Zack Snyder's career for almost as long as I think he's been around, if not as long as he's been around. And with James Gunn, it's kind of the same. I've been following his career since Trauma. So I love the fact that both of these filmmakers have gotten a chance to bring to life the DC movies for us. And they each have their own style. And you may be a fan of Zack Snyder's and not a fan of James Gunn's. And you may be a fan of James Gunn's and not a fan of Zack Snyder's. And either one of those is okay. There is absolutely no wrong answer when it comes to that. We are all fans of the DC comics at the heart of things. When the end of the day comes, that's what matters. So I appreciate that people want to see me review this series, and I appreciate that people want to support my channel. And I don't want anybody to turn around and bully any other channel or bully anybody on any other channel when they comment or talk about the things that they love. Because at the end of the day, we are all fans, and that is the most important thing. Now, rant over. Let's get into this whole thing for today, because Season 2 has been absolutely amazing. It is not for kids. That's another thing I must tell you, definitely not for kids. But this episode was great, guys. And this episode was great because it was the craziest episode so far. Now, I have been talking about this series since Season 2 began. I have been reviewing every episode, and this one is by far the craziest. So if you haven't caught up to it yet and you care about spoilers, you're gonna wanna take a break from this video, go and catch up, be on the same episode we're on. We'll wait. All right, so you're still here. Great. And if you stopped the video and came back to us, that's wonderful too. Welcome to the spoiler review, because this episode was a game changer. Basically, a lot of things about this episode I didn't expect, and then some I did. I had been starting to suspect that they were in the whole world where World War II turned out a completely different way. But I wasn't sure, and I didn't know if James Gunn would go there, because when the CW shows have gone there, they've never gone there in an outright crazy way. They've never gone hands down into what it means to have that world. And I kind of thought to myself, if James Gunn is going to do this, he's going to go into this world with no filters. Basically, he's going to go into this world and show you the dirty parts of this world. He's going to show you what this world stands for. And I didn't think that he would be allowed to do that. I thought that maybe the powers that be at WB would actually end up going no, but the fact is he did it. He did it, and I'm not surprised, but I am excited to bring this review to you. So basically, it opens up with Peacemaker and his dad and his brother and the alternative version of Amelia. And they are at dinner, and some kids ask for a picture. And when they take this picture, of course, the screen gets distorted after the picture is taken and their faces kind of seem to melt down or liquefy. And it was a really cool little effect. And I didn't know what it meant at the time, and I kind of didn't know why they needed to do it. And I still kind of don't fully understand the reasoning behind it, other than maybe to sort of hint to us, the viewers, that this world wasn't the way we thought it was. That basically this was a corrupt and horrible world. And maybe that's what that distorting of the face meant. But it was an odd choice to do, but I was there for it. I was like, okay, let's go forward. Let's see where this takes us. So then we see the 11th Street Kids, and they go into Adrian's house because they know they won't be found. And Adrian has lied to his mom and said that Amelia was his girlfriend. He tells his mom that they were dating and he had to dump her because she was a little bit boy crazy, to put it mildly. Well, the thing that happens is that, of course, his mom is the nicest, sweetest person, by the way. And he just treats her so horribly. He treats his mom so bad in this. You feel sorry for her because she is the absolute sweetest, and she takes everything that he says. He's telling her to get lost. He's telling her not to follow them. Don't come in here. She's like, okay, when you come back up, I'll make sandwiches and all this. What is it about TV moms making sandwiches? But no, she's the sweetest person ever, and he treats her so bad. They go in and they find that he has all these drugs and all this money in the basement and a closet full of Beanie Babies. They ask him about this. They ask him why he has all these drugs down here, why he has all this stuff down here. Of course, he says, because this is blood money. He has all this money and all these drugs, and he's like, this is blood money. I can never spend this. Well, they end up just going, okay, and they start pocketing all of this money. They don't care. They're like, yeah, you should never spend this. Meanwhile, they're putting it all over, like stuffing it anywhere they can. They open up this portal, and when they open up the portal, they end up covered in cocaine. They enter this portal, and the strange alien is throwing another mouse into the incinerator. And Leota waves to him, and John tells her not to wave because the wave could mean we hope your favorite son dies, which was sort of a weird take to take. And of course, Adrian doesn't get this. Adrian's like, wait, does that wave mean that? They're like, no. As this happens, we go to Rick Flag Sr., and he finds out the 11th Street Kids are missing, and he says he's going to Belle Reve to meet with someone, a very special prisoner. Well, we actually end up seeing the 11th Street Kids again, and they find the door to the alternative world that they need to be in. Basically, you can't miss it. There's all these Peacemaker helmets out there. There's all this stuff that's left out there, and it's a sure thing. Now, Adrian tells them the code and says it happens to be Peacemaker's dad's code, and they end up typing it in and it works. They open the door and they go in, and of course they're impressed by this world. They're impressed because this is just wonderful. Well, as they're looking around, they're interrupted by Peacemaker's brother. And Amelia thinks quick and hides the others and tells him she was in the bathroom taking a massive dump. And if you ever want somebody to leave you alone, that's probably the way to do it. However, this isn't the case here because he doesn't leave her alone. He continues to talk to her. He says, I thought you were at Argus with Peacemaker. He said you guys were going to Argus. She says, yeah, he sent me here to pick this up, and she grabs a snow globe. They proceed to talk about the snow globe and how he wants her to put it on her desk. He says it's weird because their mother gave it to him on her deathbed. So then we actually see that, he says he's going to Argus, so he offers to give her a ride, which she does take the ride. And as they're going away, as they're going down the hall to leave the house, He tells her he's never seen her wear black before, which is something that's actually important to think about because the Amelia from this world doesn't dress the way she dresses. He's never seen her wear pants. He's used to seeing her wear a dress too. So Adrian tells them that he's going to go and find himself. And of course, John is gagging at this point because he thinks it's weird that he saw Peacemaker's brother. And he's just sort of gagging and ready to throw up about it. Now, John and Leota don't go to Argus. And we see that Amelia and Peacemaker are in bed with each other. Now, the real Amelia at this point is with Peacemaker's brother. And they're talking about the two greatest bands, Helloween and the Beatles. And we find out two things here. Helloween is said to be one of the greatest bands of all time, the other being the Beatles. Now, the Beatles in this universe has Mick Jagger in it, so take that for what it's worth. It's Mick Jagger's band, not the Beatles you know. Then we go back to Peacemaker, and he tells Amelia he's heading to Argus. Meanwhile, the real Amelia is detained because of the cocaine, as Peacemaker walks in and sees this. Now, Adrian finds his house only to notice that there are slight differences. He meets himself and instantaneously they both do the Spider-Man pointing meme. They seem to like each other a lot. Leota and John find a mess eagerly made in the kitchen. We go to Rick Flag again, where Rick Flag and Belle Reve cutting a deal with none other than Lex Luthor. Then we go to Argus and we see that Peacemaker goes to see Amelia and they have this heart-to-heart about their feelings for each other. She tells him they want him back and of course he says, hey, why should I come back? And he tells her he loves her, but she can't say the same thing to him. She tells him how messed up she is and he says he knows he don't care. She says she goes to bars and gets into fights and all that. He tells her he still loves her. Now, Rick Flag, in the meanwhile, has gotten what he wanted from Lex Luthor, so he's leaving Belle Reve. Adrian finds out at this point that the alternative version of him hates Peacemaker and is a member of the Sons of Liberty because of Peacemaker. Now, this is actually a red flag, and this is very important. Everything is sort of setting up this scenario in which things aren't as well put together as Peacemaker originally thought. Leota at this point decides she's going to go for a walk. John stays inside and the alternative version of Amelia arrives at Argus. Leota learns what Earth they're on because she is being chased down by people who are shocked to see her there. It's all white people, so they're shocked to see her there. One of the people that chases down Leota is Peacemaker's brother. Then we go back to Amelia and Peacemaker at Argus, and she's telling him that she hasn't seen a single person of color. Finally, he looks at the flag, and instead of the stars, he sees a swastika on it. Now, at this point, John is caught and pinned down by Peacemaker's father and confesses everything. The alternate Amelia says to arrest the real Amelia because it is not her. Then the last scene we see before the credits is Leota being chased down. Now, then the scene afterwards, that little fun scene they do, actually shows more of Amelia and Peacemaker's brother having a conversation, and it just gets a little bit crazy. But this episode confirms that they are on a world where World War II has ended a completely different way. They are on that world, and I wasn't sure I was ready to believe that, but now I am, and I'm glad to see he went all in with this. We've never seen this world except in any type of futuristic type of thing. I don't ever remember seeing it set in a modern time. I don't think I've ever seen it done this way. If you have seen it done this way, let me know in the comments. That being said, this was a great episode, and again, it goes back to what I've been saying the entire time about the series, how it's all about there's no place like home. It's all about you have to be where you belong. And Peacemaker belongs where he is. Peacemaker belongs on the earth he's in. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, and that was entirely the point of this episode. Now, the name of the episode is Ignorance is Chris, and that's actually a play on words of ignorance is bliss. In other words, he was happy to be on this world until he found out exactly what it is. So then they show us the previews, and the previews look even crazier. Looks like the next episode is going to be absolutely insane, so I'm super excited to see that. But that being said, I want to hear from each and every one of you, so make sure you are leaving me that comment in the comment box below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of this crazy conversation we're having. And then you're going to want to hit that like button. If you like the positive content we bring and you want more positive content about the fandoms you love, you're going to want to let YouTube know. So make sure you hit that like button to let the algorithm know that you want more positive content. Then, friends, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button if you're liking our channel. And then while you're down there, next to it is the notification bell, which you're going to want to hit if you never want to miss a single video we do. Because, friends, at the end of the day, I know it and you know it, fandom is family.